3, 2, 1.
You are looking at Robert Griffin III warming up on this cold night here at FedExField. The Washington Redskins have gone on winning streaks recently, 2 under Joe Gibbs and last year under Coach Shanahan. Tonight against the San Francisco 49ers would be a good opportunity to start another. Welcome into Gametime Live, presented by Verizon. I am Holder, along with the voice of the Washington Redskins, Larry Michael. Larry, the last time the Washington Redskins played a Monday Night Football game, it did not go too well. There's Trent Williams. We'll hear more from him later. It did not go too well. This game against the San Francisco 49ers, that is a better team. They lost 2 games recently, but they were to Carolina and New Orleans, 2 of the better teams in the NFC. So this team, I'd say, is a lot better than that Philadelphia team that we saw at Week 1. So the Washington Redskins really need to come correct.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. San Francisco has not lived up to their preseason expectations. They are 6-4. They've lost 2 straight, albeit against 2 pretty good darn teams right now, Carolina and New Orleans. And for the Redskins, I mean, the entire season has been a season of inconsistency, to be honest with you. And the Redskins still searching to put their first complete game of the year together, including special teams. And it's not that cold, Lou Holder. Obviously, you're a man from the Caribbean. You have the roots down.
So you're saying because I'm bundled up?
It's not that cold, folks. Actually, you know, this is what you love if you're a football fan. It could be colder. I'm telling you that right now. Lou is overstating it just a little bit. But by the time this game kicks off, temperatures should be in the high 20s. And that's what we're looking at. Let's look at the guys on the field. They look warm.
So you talk about cold. This season has been pretty cold, Larry. There's been a lot of noise with the Washington Redskins. Let's just address some of that. I know we've seen it. We've heard it before. Steve Spurrier's second year, there was a lot of noise. Jim Zorn's tenure here, there was a lot of noise. But there's something different about this Mike Shanahan group, knowing that Mike Shanahan is a trusted coach. And although there's been some, drama going on with the quarterback, with the whole Trent Williams situation with the referee, I still feel that this team, and you're around them, that they're united.
No doubt about that. You can look back to last year's experience with those, with the stretch one that won the NFC East. And, when you don't win games, this is going to happen. I believe the Redskins have buffered a lot of the criticism in the locker room. They haven't listened. They haven't been part of it, but they have had to put out energy answering these questions. There's Carlos Rogers right there.
Old friend. There's a lot of nuances in this game. Vernon Davis. You got a bunch. Josh Morgan playing his old team. Josh Morgan and Fred Davis.
Yep.
Probably going to
Navarro Bowman from your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Also, you've got Ahmad Brooks from Woodbridge, Virginia. There's a local flavor, no doubt. But back to the game, with the Redskins in the position they're in for the last few weeks, we've heard a lot of folks say, well, the division is still up for grabs. Right now, I don't think you're looking for the division to be up for grabs. You just need to win a game. You just got to find a way to get in the win column. And winning would be the perfect tonic in the D.C. area, in the DMV. And people love the Redskins, and people want to see the Redskins win. The expectations, Lou, were so high this year at the beginning after the training camp in Richmond for things not to go well. It's not a shock to me that fans are upset at the fact that this team isn't winning. They expect a winning team. They expect a championship team, and so does the administration of the team. So a chance to get a win against a very good football team. I don't disagree with you. This, to me, is a tougher opponent on paper than the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Redskins have won their last 2 straight at home. Home cooking, you never know. First of a 3-game homestand for the Redskins here tonight. And this could be the start of something if they can pull it off.
You talked about high expectations. Obviously, we have to go back to the quarterback. Everybody built Robert Griffin III up so high, and his performance last year merited that. He played very well. He caught the NFL by storm. But everything that went on in the offseason, and then with some of the comments he made during the year, and then now, how do you think he's handling this? You see him every day. How do you think he's actually handling this?
I think he's handling it well. You're talking about foreign territory. For a guy like that, you're looking at a guy like Alfred Morris on the other side of the coin. He's played well, and he has been impervious to any criticism. In fact, if Alfred gets 100 yards tonight, he'll be leading the National Football League in rushing. He'll have over 1,000 yards this season. But, the quarterback gets the headlines. When you win, the quarterback gets the credit. When you lose, the quarterback gets the blame. And after last year's magical year, I don't think anybody was expecting this to happen this year. I will say this. Robert is one of the toughest guys you're ever going to see. He's taken a beating over the last few games, and a guy like Trent Williams right here is going to be a big opportunity for him to protect his backside against a defense that wants to get after him. And I asked Coach Shanahan, have the defenses caught up to Kaepernick and Robert? He goes, well, it's a game-by-game deal. And looking back, the Redskins have 3 straight games with 400 yards offense. If they do it again tonight, it will set a record. The Redskins have never had 4 straight 400-yard games. So a lot of variables. The one bottom line is the Redskins cannot afford to lose the battle of turnovers here tonight. As bad as the special teams have played this year, they really haven't gotten any help out of the special teams for field position. To compound that by giving it up, you got to take care of the football, win the battle of turnovers, stop their run, make them one-dimensional, and whoa, that ball right through there.
That's Game Time Live.
Yeah, right to you. And that's the rookie Nick Williams. And again,
let's talk about Nick Williams. I mean, that play at the end of the Eagles game where he, didn't field the punt correctly. I mean, obviously you still got to give him more opportunities, but you talked about special teams and you talked about field position. This Washington Redskins team is constantly starting, inside their own 20 and having to go 90, 95 yards, 85 yards to score, and that's got to be demoralizing.
Well, it is, and that's what I'm talking about with special teams. Usually special teams give you a boost. Maybe you get a nice return, and maybe you make a good decision on a punt. Maybe your punter can punt the ball inside the opponent's 5-yard line. Those little things all add up to field position, and the Redskins have been put in a very tough spot, game after game, field position, because of their special teams. So, talking to some of the guys before the game, it's imperative the Redskins have an error-free special teams night tonight, or they're going to have a hard time winning this football game. Simple.
Last unit I want to talk about before I let you go is that defense. Frank Gore, that's what their bread and butter is, San Francisco. Colin Kaepernick, his pass percentage is not quite there. I mean, it's low. It's one of the lowest in the NFL. So, I mean, they run that ball, and they run it well. If this defense can stop the run, would you agree that that's one of the keys to this game is stopping Frank Gore?
Absolutely. He's 7th rated in the National Football League. He's a power runner, different than Sean McCoy, who's more of a shake-and-bake guy. This is a punishing runner, downhill runner. And the Redskins, their defense has struggled all year. If you put them in a one-dimensional game, maybe you do get those turnovers we're talking about. Colin Kaepernick's been up and down this year, but he's got a lot of upside as well. Got 2 great young quarterbacks here who both had the same type of season unfold. And so I'm looking forward to it, Lou. It's a cold night, but not too cold.
Thank you so much, Larry Michael, who has presented to me that it is not too cold, and it's because that I am from the Caribbean that I should be able to suck this whole thing up. Redskins Desk Site. Hey, Redskins fans, did you hear about the Redskins Desk Site app? It's an app that turns your PC into a Redskins DVR. This PC app will automatically deliver HD videos directly to your computer. You'll receive game highlights, interviews with the players, coaches, full-length TV shows, and more. Download it now by going to redskins.com/desk-site. All right, Larry Michael has left. He says it's not cold. I think it is very, very cold, but that's just me. I'm Lou Holder. I'm not Larry Michael. That's how cold it is. Hey, as Larry Michael leaves, we bring in Brian Tinsman from Redskins.com. Now, last time I was with you, Brian Tinsman did not do his homework. I have to scold him. He did not do his homework. He was supposed to bring the one thing that I ask him to bring every time he's on the air. That's the front of the magazine, which he produces. So this time, he told me that he did not disappoint. Who do you have for the cover?
We got Trent Williams. Trent Williams, the All-Pro, Pro Bowl level, captain of your offense.
We saw him earlier.
Left tackle for your Washington Redskins.
Okay. Why did you pick him?
I mean, Trent Williams is a guy that actually, it's interesting that now in his 4th season, he's actually gotten to the point where you don't talk about him as much anymore. You're not talking about him as, okay, well, he did well, but then he had a couple bad plays there. He had a good couple games, but then he had one dud. And that just doesn't happen anymore. And that's what you want from offensive linemen. You want a guy that you really don't have to talk about, and the only time that you do mention, you go, oh, yeah, he is one of the best in the league. I mean, that is the value of a franchise left tackle right there.
Slide Out for Redskins Game Time Live is presented by Verizon, and it's all about the players. But, it's so funny that you picked Trent Williams as the person for the front of the magazine because he made news with that referee. And we were both up in Philadelphia, and it was amazing when you see the video of him, Robert Griffin III, and Santana Moss, and I think a couple other receivers, look at him like, what was that? So the way that you just mentioned it, the way that Trent even kept his cool, because there were times that in his younger part of his career, he would have exploded or something would have happened. He just came to the locker room and said, I don't think that that's right. You could definitely see the maturity level in one Trent Williams.
Absolutely. And it's funny. Every time you see a big play this season, it seems like Trent Williams is right there in the thick of it. Whether it's a passing play and he's, buying time for Robert in the pocket, or two of the most successful plays that they've been able to run in pretty much every game, that bubble screen to the left with Pierre Garçon, and he's catching the pass, and then it's guys like Logan Paulson and Niles Paul that are blocking for him, but every single time you'll see number 71 racing down the field, it's seemingly with Pierre Garçon, and really just opening up huge holes for them in that part of the passing game. You'll also see Robert scramble in that direction a fair amount. And then I think probably most importantly, as the Redskins have overtaken the NFL lead in rushing yards per game, what you're finally starting to see is that, they've figured out that you can run very well off tackle in his direction. And so all of those 14-yard runs, all of those 25-yard runs that Alfred Morris has tallied this season, and indeed Roy Halou Jr. as well, have been off to that left side behind Trent Williams, who is just plowing would-be defenders downfield.
Thanks so much, Redskins. Game Time Live presented by Verizon. Redskins fans, let us all connect with the feed and fight for hunger. To donate, visit bankofamerica.com/give. When you do, Bank of America will triple your gift up to $1.5 million. Again, let's use all our connections to fight hunger. To donate, visit bankofamerica.com/give. And when you do, Bank of America will triple your gift up to $1.5 million. Back to our conversations. We talked with Larry about the offense, the defense, and the special teams. I want to go mainly back to the special teams and realize that, when you're starting at your own 10 and 15 and 20-yard line, it really does have to be demoralizing to a unit. Larry mentioned it from a broadcasting point of view, but when you talk to these guys for Redskins.com, what are they saying about putting all three phases of this thing together, especially the special teams?
Well, it's funny. There's not a single negative word to be said about the special teams. There's, Robert actually joked about it this week that, having the ball down inside the 5 allows them to put together better statistical drives, your 95-yard drives for a touchdown and that sort of thing. And certainly when the offense is rolling on all cylinders, that is possible because they have the ability to move the ball in any point of the field. But that just hasn't been the case all the way this season. They've, through the first 11 games, the first 10 games, they've been up and down on offense from time to time, and they've had their struggles, certainly. So, any help that they can get in breaking it down the field a little bit. I don't remember the last time we saw a punt return over 10 yards. I don't know the last time we saw a kickoff return over 25 yards. Those are the sort of plays that can happen in a game, and it may seem isolated at the time. But when you're talking about the overall momentum of a game and the overall battle for field position, those can be huge plays, and the Redskins really need that out of that special teams unit tonight.
The Washington Redskins have gone on winning streaks. I mentioned at the top of the show, the Washington Redskins have gone on winning streaks twice under Joe Gibbs, very memorable winning streaks under Joe Gibbs. And then last year, obviously it's not like it's not within them. Right. We don't want to see it happen, but this would be a great time to start another one. And they got 3 games at home. This San Francisco team can be beaten, although they lost to they lost to Carolina and they lost to New Orleans. But the Washington Redskins team, especially at home, they've won at home. So this is a game that if they want to start a streak, this needs to be the game.
Absolutely, and you're talking about a team that's coming here from sunny California. They're not used to this. This is an East Coast trip for them. And, maybe a lot of those factors are overstated. However, you're talking about, a team that is doing very well at home with Robert Griffin III. And you look at the toughest part of their schedule is already behind them. That there are no more Peyton Mannings on the schedule. There are no more Aaron Rodgers. And this is really an opportunity for them. This 3-game stretch, as you noted, is really going to be the make or break point in this season. You're absolutely right. They still have an opportunity to turn it around, even though the Dallas Cowboys are starting to turn it around, even though the Eagles are coming off a bye week. We'll see what they can do next week. Redskins are still very much in the thick of it, and that's kind of unique to this season. But this is certainly an opportunity for them to take a little bit of a foothold and get on a roll.
All right, thank you so much. Brian Tinsman from Redskins.com, always doing a great job, and has Trent Williams on the cover. Redskins fans, be sure to catch the Monday Morning Redskins Roundup, presented by Verizon, every Monday at 9 a.m. on Redskins.com. This live web show will feature highlights, interviews, and analysis. Ask the host, which is Chris Big Sexy Russell, a question by using hashtag Redskins Talk on Twitter. And lo and behold, look who we have here. He's big. He's sexy. It's Chris Russell from ESPN 980. He's last today. We were waiting for him.
Yes.
The reason why we're waiting for him is because he has some very up-to-date information, which is the inactives, who's playing, who's not playing, and that's where we start with you always, Chris Russell. Holla at a brother.
I know I'm big. I don't know about the sexy part as Nick Williams comes streaming past us. All right, we got a lot of things going on.
Talk, it's your time.
Yeah, the inactives are Stephen Bowen, Darrell Young, Rex Grossman, Josh Laribas, Jose Gums, Brandon Jenkins, and one more that I might be forgetting, not of significant, but Darrell Young and Stephen Bowen are inactive for the Redskins. Now, as far as lineup changes, Niles Paul starts at fullback if they start off in the fullback for Darrell Young. Josh Morgan, as we knew, be the starting Z receiver for Leonard Hankerson. Chris Baker scheduled to start at right defensive end for Kedrick Olsen. And here's the big one. Santana Moss is your punt returner tonight, according to a team source.
Praise the Lord. I've been waiting for that for weeks. I have actually been waiting for that. No, I think Nick Williams did a decent job. I mean, in Philadelphia, it's his first time. I would put him back there as well again. But Santana Moss is perfect back there, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, people have been clamoring for this. He doesn't really want to do it full time. But quite honestly, Lou,
this team needs him to do it, though.
They need him. He's been phased out a little bit in the passing game. Maybe Nick Williams can help them a little bit more there. He caught a 2-point conversion. I thought he ran a great route for his first career NFL reception. Plus, you got Lance Lewis, who can probably play kick inside. Josh Morgan can maybe even kick inside if you want Lance on the outside at the Z opposite of Garcon and a 3-wide receiver, package. I would say this. I think this gives the Redskins their best chance. Ball security, 1. Ball judgment, 2, which was a big issue for Josh Morgan, for Chris Thompson, and quite honestly for Nick Williams. To me, this is the right move. I kind of expected this. I just had to wait for official confirmation.
Yes, you are. You are official.
I am.
You are official.
I'm kind of something like that.
And we talked about field position to both Larry and Brian Tinsman. And I think Santana Moss gives you a halfway decent shot of getting some good field position, which this team, it could actually benefit from not having to go 95 yards every time the offense gets the ball.
Yeah, I think the number is 9 times inside their own 5-yard line or whatever it is. And, it's just way too much for, quite honestly, right now, what is a mediocre passing offense. They're number 1 rushing yards average per game in the league. And by the end of tonight, assuming they get 105, cumulative rushing yards, they'll be number 1 in that area as well. But the passing game has to improve. Well, part of the reason why this offense as a whole has been challenged, and quite honestly the defense has been challenged, is because of bad field position, whether it's a lack of returns from whoever's been a kick and punt returns. Got a little bit better with Niles. We'll see what Santana can do. But also, the coverage has been bad, as we know, and some of it is skewed, but the average starting defensive field position is the opponent's 30-yard line, which means they only have to go, on average, 70 yards instead of 80 or 85 or 90 or whatever it is for a touchdown. You can't have that in this game and expect to win week in, week out against the caliber of competition the Washington Redskins have gone against. And don't make any mistake, they have gone against supreme offensive competition, whether it's the passing game or the run game. One way or the other, the Redskins have dealt with a literal murderer's row of weapons on the opposite side of the ball.
Let's step away, as we always do, get some of these players. And you talked about tough challenges. I think if you stop Frank Gore, you kind of neutralize this San Francisco 49ers offense, because Colin Kaepernick, he's had his struggles too. We talk about RG3 because we're here, but Colin Kaepernick, his pass completion percentage, I think Geno Smith has a higher pass completion percentage than he does. So he's struggling as far as pass completion. So if you shut down Frank Gore, I think they're averaging 170 yards rushing per game.
Well, it's not that high. It's about 140 something. They're fifth in the league, I believe it is. But so they're below the Redskins. But the point is, Frank Gore, you cannot let him beat you in this game. And also Colin Kaepernick. Now, they don't run as much read option as maybe the Redskins do at times. But the Redskins have struggled against mobile and read option quarterbacks to kind of decipher that. So that is going to be very important. Get hats. Brian Orakpo has played actually very well against the run this year, I think, Lou. He's been very active behind the line of scrimmage. They need to make those San Francisco 49ers one-dimensional. One of the reasons why Colin Kaepernick has struggled, no Michael Crabtree, who is not active tonight, and there's a decision they have to make, the 49ers do. He's not active. And also, Vernon Davis has been a little bit banged up. Yet, Vernon Davis, the D.C. area native, 16.3 yards per reception. That's number one for tight ends in the NFL.
Two storylines that I'm following. I'm very interested in because we've talked about this throughout the year is Fred Davis and more recently, Joshua Morgan. Josh Morgan playing against his former team. Fred Davis, as you call him, was in the Chateau Bow Wow. Both of these guys now with either, trying to put tape together for another team or what have you. They're going to be huge tonight in their roles for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, I think Josh will be a bigger weapon and a bigger part of this game plan than Fred will, but I expect to see Fred in some of the 2 tight end and maybe even 3 tight end jumbo sets that we've seen a couple of times now with the Redskins in Minnesota and, of course, in that San Diego game. I think Fred will be a weapon or an added element on third down. That's probably where you'll see him the most, trying to replace that huge lift that Jordan Reed gave. But Josh Morgan was terrific on third down last year in terms of the overall picture. He had 10 receptions. That's not that much, but out of his 48 on third down last year, second on the team behind only Santana Moss, and he had 2 red zone touchdowns for his 2 touchdown passes or pass catches last December against Philadelphia on the road and against Baltimore in the game that Robert first got hurt in. This team has struggled in the red zone the last couple of weeks. It's been an on-again, off-again issue all year. Look for Josh Morgan, especially in the red zone, but also to help them on third down.
Okay, before I let you go, one last question. I know besides winning a football game, how can this Washington Redskins team calm the noise that's been going on throughout this whole franchise?
Well, stop talking. And that means everyone. And that means Robert Griffin III. That means Mike Shanahan. That means Kyle Shanahan. That means every player in that locker room. And I'm not calling anybody specifically out. Stop talking to the media. Stop talking and sourcing stuff. Stop talking and texting people. And that includes me. You know what? I'm fine. Don't let me do my job because that's crap that I don't want to do, quite honestly, because it's only detrimental to this franchise.
Chris Russell bringing it hard and bringing it strong to end this segment of Redskins Game Time Live, presented by Verizon. You've heard it from all 3 of our sources, Chris Russell, Larry Michael, and Brian Tisman, on what's going to happen on the game today against the San Francisco 49ers. One last thing I want to tell you. Tug of War, the social showdown is here. Tweet using hashtag HTTR and help beat the 49ers off the field in the 12th man Twitter hashtag battle. Check RedskinsGameTime.com for real-time showdown updates. So there you have it. The Washington Redskins need a win badly. They're 3-7. The San Francisco 49ers, they've lost to the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. So this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out. The Washington Redskins, last time they played a Monday Night Football game, did not go so well. But this team is hungry inside, as you heard from all of our sources, that this team has not abandoned their objective, and that is to win football games. They've been on winning streaks before, and this is going to be a good night to start another one. The Washington Redskins and the San Francisco 49ers. Enjoy the game. This has been Game Time Live, presented by Verizon. Enjoy the game, everybody.